Okay. Kate Bennett, we'll get back to you in a moment, but let's take a minute to listen to the president as he and the First Lady head to Paris, walking to Marine One, speaking to reporters moments ago.
It should be a very beautiful period of time, the 100th anniversary of the ending of World War I. We have many countries, the leadership of many countries will be there, especially since they heard the United States will be there, and we look forward to that. It'll be a great, really commemorative service. I think it's going to be something very special. I've seen what they have planned, and I think it's going to be something very, very special. I just signed the proclamation on asylum, very important. People can come in, but they have to come in through the ports of entry, and that to me is a very important thing. Again, I reiterate, we need Democrats' votes. They have to pass new immigration laws because they're flooding our country. We're not letting them in, but they're trying to flood our country. We need the wall. We're building the wall, but we need it all built at one time and quickly. It's very important. We need Democrat support on new immigration laws to bring us up to date. The laws are obsolete and they're incompetent. They are the worst laws any country has anywhere in the world. And it's only because we don't have the Democrats' votes. So we need Democrat votes so we can change immigration. We'll have no trouble whatsoever at the border. We want people to come into our country, but they have to come into our country legally. They have to come into our country legally. We want people to come in through the merit system so that they can work for all of these great companies that I have coming into our country. We have many car companies coming in. We have many tech companies coming in. We have literally hundreds of companies moving back into the United States. We need people. We need to have, you see the unemployment numbers are at record lows. We need people in our country, but they have to come in legally and they have to have merit. They have to come in through a system of merit. We have everything worked out. We need some votes from the Democrats, or we need support from the Democrats, and hopefully they see what's going on. And the reason this is happening is we've created such a successful country economically that everybody is flooding into our country, or they want to, but we're stopping them at the border. That's why we have our great military there.
Mr. President, what do you think all the criticism of Matt Whitaker and Paul Christie,
well, Matt Whitaker, I don't know Matt Whitaker. Matt Whitaker worked for Jeff Sessions, and he was always extremely highly thought of, and he still is. But I didn't know Matt Whitaker. He worked for Attorney General Sessions. He was very, very highly thought of, and still is highly thought of. But this only comes up because anybody that works for me, they do a number on them. But Matt Whitaker is a very smart man. He is a very respected man in the law enforcement community, very respected, at the top of the line. And actually, the choice was greeted with raves initially, and it still is in some circles on, it's a shame that no matter who I put in, they go after him. It's very, very sad, I have to say. But he's acting. I think he'll do a very good job, and we'll see what happens. But I will say this, Matt Whitaker is a very highly respected man, and you didn't have any problems with Matt Whitaker when he worked for Jeff Sessions. He's respected by law enforcement. He's a very strong law enforcement personality and person. I didn't speak to Matt Whitaker about it. I don't know Matt Whitaker. Matt Whitaker has a great reputation, and that's what I wanted. I also wanted to do something which, frankly, I could have brought somebody very easily from the outside. I didn't want to do that. When Sessions left, what I did very simply is take a man who worked for Sessions. Again, he worked for Jeff Sessions. He's a highly respected man, especially by law enforcement, and I think he's going to do a great job. He's there in an acting position. He's probably, from what I hear, a very strong person, a very strong personality, and I think that's what they need. Who?
Kellyanne's husband wrote that
You mean Mr. Kellyanne Conway?
He wrote that you were unconstitutionally appointing him. Is he wrong?
He's just trying to get publicity for himself. Why don't you do this? Why don't you ask Kellyanne that question? All right, all right. She might know him better than me. I really don't know the guy. But when you make a comment, first of all, let me speak, please. First of all, when you make comments, I see everybody on television, all these lawyers, all these law enforcement people making comment after comment. They never ask to get recused. They make comment. The fact that you go on Fox or CNN or MSNBC or anybody, you make a comment, you'd have nobody left to choose. You would have absolutely nobody left. I see different people at different times going on shows. Am I supposed to say, oh, now he's never qualified to serve in government? So all the time I'm watching many different people go on many different shows, saying many different things. That doesn't mean they're unqualified. Now, in all fairness to Matt Whitaker, who, again, I didn't know, okay? Other than through reputation, his reputation is excellent. But in all fairness to him, he did some shows, so did many of the people that you're talking about. So did everybody that you're talking about a permanent position. I think everybody looking at a permanent position in any department has done many shows. Does that mean we can't hire anybody? We have to hire somebody that's in a shell? I don't think so. Say it again. You have to speak up.
Right. You foresee a federal law in the Florida recount, which you read about last night.
Well, it could be, because if you look at Broward and Palm Beach to a lesser extent, if you look at Broward County, they have had a horrible history. And if you look at the person, in this case a woman, involved, she has had a horrible history. And all of a sudden, they're finding votes out of nowhere. And Rick Scott, who won by, you know, it was close, but he won by a comfortable margin. Every couple of hours, it goes down a little bit. And then you see the people, and they were involved with that fraud of the fake dossier, the phony dossier. And I guess I hear they were somehow involved or work with the GPS fusion people who have committed. I mean, you look at what they've done. You look at the dishonesty. Look. There's bad things have gone on in Broward County, really bad things. She's been to court. She's had a lot of problems. She's lost. I say this, he easily won, but every hour it seems to be going down. I think that people have to look at it very, very cautiously. What? I haven't ruled out anything. I haven't even thought about it. I'm thinking about the world. I'm thinking about, right now, I'm thinking about the world. I'm not thinking about sit-downs or not sit-downs. There was no collusion. It's a whole hoax. This was a thing set up by the Democrats, just like they set up other things. When you look at what's going on in Florida, when you look at what's going on in lots of different locations, the Russian investigation is a hoax. It's a phony hoax. I didn't speak to Russians. The fact is, I was a much better candidate than Hillary Clinton. I worked much harder. I went to the right places. She went to the wrong places because she didn't know what the hell she was doing. I did a great job. I was a great candidate. She was a bad candidate. I went to Wisconsin. I went more to Michigan. I went to Pennsylvania. She didn't do a good job. This has nothing to do with Russians. It's a Russian hoax. Oh, Michelle Obama said that? I haven't seen it. I guess she wrote a book. She got paid a lot of money to write a book. And they always insist that you come up with controversial. Well, I'll give you a little controversy back. I'll never forgive him for what he did to our United States military by not funding it properly. It was depleted. Everything was old and tired. And I came in and I had to fix it. And I'm in the process of spending tremendous amounts of money. So I'll never forgive him for what he did to our military. I'll never forgive him for what he did in many other ways, which I'll talk to you about in the future. But what he did Christie talked about safety. What he did to our military made this country very unsafe for you and you and you.
Mr. President, how long?
Well, we're looking at other people. I did not see Christie yesterday. I heard he was in the White House. He's a friend of mine. He's a good man. When he got out of the presidential race, as you know, the next day he supported me. He has good taste. So he proved one thing. He has good taste. But when he got out, he immediately supported me. I like Christie, but I have not talked to him about it. He was in the White House yesterday. He was in the White House yesterday, but I did not see him.
How long are you going to leave Jim Acosta in the penalty box?
I think Jim Acosta is a very unprofessional man. I think he does this with everybody. He gets paid to do that. You know, he gets paid to burst in. He's a very unprofessional guy. Whether it was me or Ronald Reagan or anybody else, he would have done the same thing. Look, I don't think he's a smart person, but he's got a loud voice. And here, wait, David, do you mind if I answer the question? And as far as I'm concerned, I haven't made that decision, but it could be others also. When you're in the White House, this is a very sacred place to me. This is a very special place. You have to treat the White House with respect. You have to treat the presidency with respect. If you've ever seen him dealing with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, it's a disgrace. And he does it for, you know, the reason. The same thing with April Ryan. I watch her get up. I mean, you talk about somebody that's a loser. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She gets publicity, and then she gets a pay raise, or she gets a contract with, I think, CNN. But she's very nasty, and she shouldn't be. She shouldn't be. You've got to treat the White House and the office of the presidency with respect. I see her nodding very positively, so I'll ask her, you know. You have to speak up, Doug. You have a helicopter raging back. For all the people that don't know why, my hearing is great, but you have a helicopter that's raging back there. In fact, do you remember Ronald Reagan? He'd always, what? I can't hear you. I always thought he was hard of hearing. He wasn't. That's the problem.
She wants to know what's going to happen when you meet with Putin.
Well, I'll meet with Putin at the G20. I don't know that we're seeing each other in Paris, but there may be a lunch for the leaders. I don't know. So I would say nothing. We have a good relationship. Having a good relationship with Russia and China and every other country is a good thing, not a bad thing. But we have a very good relationship.
Are you going to fire Ryan?
No, I'm going to look into any complaints. If there are any complaints, I'll look into it. Well, it was a political decision made by a judge. I think it's a disgrace. It's 48,000 jobs. I approved it. It's ready to start. And they went, and I guess they'll end up going to the Ninth Circuit as usual. We're slowly putting new judges in the Ninth Circuit. Everything goes to the Ninth Circuit. Everything. Now, DACA, that was actually good news yesterday because you never win in the Ninth Circuit if you're on this half of the equation. When I say half, it could be half or more. But you never win. You rarely win in the Ninth Circuit. The good news is, by rejecting DACA in the Ninth Circuit yesterday, finally, we've been waiting for that. We get to the Supreme Court, and we want to be in the Supreme Court on DACA. President Obama said he had no right to sign it. He had no right, but it was upheld in the Ninth Circuit, as usual. If you take President Obama's statement, he knew that he couldn't sign it. So this whole thing it's a terrible thing, what's happening with the courts. The DACA will now hopefully go to the Supreme Court, where we'll be given a fair decision. We'll be making a decision. I have so many people who want it. We are looking at Heather. We're looking at numerous people. We have plenty of time. Nikki is staying until the end of the year. We're working with Nikki also. We have some very good people that want that job. I'll make the decision over the next few weeks, but by the end of the year. Well, I have some very, very good people, but, I mean, there's no rush. You know, it has to go through a Senate process, which takes a long time. but we'll pick somebody that's great. We're going to pick somebody that's very good. And again, I think it's Matt Whitaker is a highly respected man, but I didn't know Matt Whitaker. But he's a highly respected man.
Matt Whitaker has not gone through a Senate process.
Yeah, but neither has Muller. Excuse me. You talk about the Senate process. Muller is doing a report. He hasn't gone through the Senate process. So you're saying Whitaker hasn't, but Whitaker has. Wait a minute. Because he was a really distinguished U.S. attorney in Iowa. And he was approved by everybody. Because to be U.S. attorney, that's top of the line. He was a highly respected. In fact, I'll tell you, the ambassador to China, as you know, Terry Branstad, who used to be the governor of Iowa, he told me that what a great choice that is, that he is one of the most respected people in all of Iowa. And that was coming from Terry Branstad, who was the governor. Look, Muller, a big complaint people have, Muller was not Senate confirmed. So he's doing a report. He wasn't Senate confirmed. Whitaker was Senate confirmed, and now he doesn't need this, but he was Senate confirmed at the highest level when he was the U.S. attorney from Iowa. But Mueller was not Senate confirmed. Why didn't they get him Senate confirmed? He should have been Senate confirmed. Because of all the conflicts, they didn't want to bring him before the Senate because he's very conflicted. So because of those conflicts, they didn't want to bring him before the Senate. But don't tell me about Whitaker. Don't tell me about Whitaker because Mueller was not Senate confirmed. And Whitaker was, actually.
Sir, the Democrats keep picking up more
It doesn't. Whether they get a couple of more House seats doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But you notice the votes never go the other way. They hire lawyers, and the votes don't ever seem to go the Republican way. Although I hear, well, I don't know. You tell me. It's always the Democrats. It's always GPS fusion. It's always crooked stuff. Look at what happened. How many FBI are gone? How many Justice Department people are gone? That I found out. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in this country, and we're finding out, and I'm getting to the bottom of it. And I've done a hell of a job. How many people have been fired from the FBI? You got Comey, you got McCabe, you got Strzok, you have Lisa Page, you have Baker, you have a whole list of people. There's a lot of crooked stuff going on. But it is interesting. It always seems to go the way of the Democrats. Now in Arizona, all of a sudden, out of the wilderness, they find a lot of votes, and the other candidate is just winning by a hair. What's going on in Florida is a disgrace. Go down and see what happened over the last period of time, 10 years. Take a look at Broward County. Take a look at the total dishonesty of what happened with respect to Broward County. Broward County, just press, Broward County /election. There's a lot of dishonesty.
Mr. President, why do Press Secretary share a doctor's video of the fake video?
The taped video of Acosta? What are you talking about? All that was, nobody manipulated it. Give me a break. See, that's just dishonest reporting. All that is a close-up. See, that is just dishonest reporting. I watched that. I heard that last night. They made it close up. They showed it close up. And he was not nice to that young woman. I don't hold him for that because it wasn't overly, horrible. But all that was, when you say doctor, you're a dishonest guy because it wasn't doctored. They gave a close-up view. That's not doctoring.
Mr. President, are you thinking about more Supreme Court justices since Justice Ginsburg's in the hospital?
No, I wish her well. She said something very inappropriate during the campaign, but she apologized for it. I wouldn't say she's exactly on my side, but I wish her well. I hope she gets better, and I hope she serves in the Supreme Court for many, many years. Terrible.
What are we going to do about
He's a very sick, it's a mental health problem. He is a very sick puppy. He was a very, very sick guy. Not too many people knew about it, but now that they're looking, they're starting to see he had a lot of problems, a lot of trouble, and we're very much into that. As you know, I funded a lot of money toward mental health. We want to make sure, look, it is a problem. It's a disastrous problem. It makes you sick to look at it. But he was a very, very mentally ill person. Say it.
Firearms play any part of this mental health conversation?
Well, he was a war veteran. He was a Marine. He was in the war. He served time. He saw some pretty bad things. And a lot of people say he had the PTSD. And that's a tough deal. We're spending, as you know, I've given tremendous funding to the vets for the PTSD and for general health for PTSD. It's a big problem. People come back. That's why it's a horrible thing. They come back. They're never the same.
Are you prepared to fly that flag at half-mast a lot more?
Well, I don't like abusing any privilege, but when I see something that we should do, I always do that. Yeah, I always do that.
Are you going to California? Are you going to California?
I believe you should. When it's a worthy situation, I do believe it.
The USMCA.
Matt Whitaker to be involved in the Russia probe. Do you want him to?
It's up to him.
Do you want him to rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
You signed an executive order on birthright citizenship this week. Why did that?
We're working well because other things have come up, and we will be signing it soon.
It's a political stunt.
No. We're signing it. We're doing it, and it'll probably work its way up to the Supreme Court. Birthright citizenship probably works its way up to the Supreme Court. It will be signed. We wanted a perfect document. And because of the election and all of the delays in the election and whatever's going on in Broward County, remember the word, Broward County.
Is there any evidence of
Wait,
fraud in Broward County?
well, you take a look at the past. Take a look at the past. And all of a sudden they're finding votes. You mean after the election, they're finding votes? And then you look at her past where she's already been convicted, and now they're finding votes. And you have this guy, Elias, who represented Hillary Clinton and a lot of very shady things. I think what you ought to do is get smart. Good luck, folks. I'll see you in Europe. See you.
Well, that was quite a press availability from the president as you see him leaving there with the First Lady, Melania Trump, for the trip to Paris to commemorate Armistice Day. Poppy, you know, a few to tick through here. One, just within hours, a couple days after Matt Whitaker being appointed the acting attorney general, the president, more than half a dozen times there in those comments, notes he does not know Matt Whitaker, although he went on to say that he is a very, very highly thought of choice. But he went back again and said, I don't know him. Was he putting distance between himself and the new sitting attorney general? A lot of headlines there on the president, his comments on the Russia investigation, again, calling it a phony hoax. Interestingly, tying the recounts in Florida and Arizona, particularly in Florida, somehow to the Russian dossier, I imagine because of the involvement of a lawyer who often works for the Democratic Party, but a sitting president, Poppy, casting doubt on legally required recounts in the state of Florida, part of which arose from all the controversy in 2000 with the presidential race there. And
Jim, near the end there, it really struck me that a female reporter, we're trying to figure out who it is, asked the president a very important and direct question. You know, do you want Whitaker, the acting attorney general now overseeing the Russia probe, to rein in Mueller? Why did she ask it? Well, because Whitaker has talked extensively, including on this network, about reining it in. What did the president respond? He didn't answer. He insulted that female reporter, and he said, what a stupid question. We're going to try to get her on the phone on that as well.
It's become a go-to line for the president with questions that he doesn't like, right? He'll even sometimes call them dangerous or violent questions.